You're lying on the ground. No walls, no roof, no light. Just you, the dirt, and the African night. Something moves in the dark. You heard it. You don't know what direction. You don't know how close. This is not a horror story. This was Tuesday night for 300,000 years. And the fear that nearly destroyed them, you still feel it every single night. Let's start with the most brutal fact. Ancient humans were nearly blind at night. Not, I need a flashlight blind. I cannot see my own hand blind. 4 meters. That is the length of one car. That is how far an ancient human could see in total darkness. A lion could see 25 meters in the exact same conditions. So let's think about what that actually means. You are standing in darkness, completely still, barely breathing. You think you're watching the night. The night has been watching you for the last 20 minutes. And here's the thing, it wasn't just lions. What ancient humans feared most at night wasn't even the animal they could hear. It was the one they couldn't. We'll get to that. The African savanna at night was an entirely different world. Not dangerous in the way we casually throw that word around. Calibrated dangerous. Every predator out there had spent millions of years optimizing for one specific window of time, the hours between sunset and sunrise. Lions, 600 pounds, built for nocturnal ambush. Researchers studying attack patterns in Tanzania found something that should make your skin crawl. Lion attacks on humans spike dramatically in the weeks after a full moon fades, when visibility drops, when the dark gets deeper. The lions know. Then there were hyenas, 30 of them, silent, coordinated. They don't chase, they assess, probing the edges of a camp, looking for the smallest, the weakest, the one who wandered just a little too far from the fire. And hyenas can crunch through bone with the strongest bite force of any land predator. You do not survive a hyena encounter by playing dead. But here's the one ancient humans truly dreaded. Remember I said the most dangerous animal wasn't the one they could hear. The leopard. A leopard doesn't chase. It climbs a tree above a sleeping group and waits, close enough to touch, silent enough to be a shadow. We know this wasn't mythology. The fossil record tells us. Skulls of early humans bearing the exact puncture patterns of leopard jaws. Campsites where something entered in the night and left evidence behind. This is why the fire wasn't just warmth. The fire was survival. But first, I need to tell you what the darkness was doing to them inside. The moment the sun disappeared, something activated in the ancient human brain. Not a thought, a mode. The amygdala, the brain's threat alarm, fires up like a watchtower suddenly going dark. Heart rate climbs, breathing goes shallow and quiet, pupils expand to maximum. Every sense in the body redirects to detecting. And here's the truly strange part. When the eyes can't find information, the brain doesn't go quiet. It invents. It fills the darkness with shapes, movement, presence. Not because the brain is broken.
Because a brain that imagines a predator and responds survives. A brain that stays calm when it shouldn't, didn't pass its genes forward. The paranoid survived. The calm ones didn't always make it to morning. Which brings us to the one thing that changed everything. The one discovery so important, so transformative, that it let ancient humans sleep at all. Fire. Not just the practical fire, not just for warmth or cooking. Fire as a boundary. The circle of firelight was the first wall humanity ever built. Not stone, not wood, not rope, light. One person was always awake, watching the fire, watching the edge, watching for the change in behavior when predators caught a scent. The birds going quiet, the insects stopping, the specific silence that meant something large was close. Archaeological evidence tells us something remarkable. The ancient humans had around fire at night were different,
more emotional, more intimate. The stories told in that firelight, stories about predators, about the dark, about survival, weren't entertainment. They were survival manuals. Every story about a lion that crept close while the fire was low, that story saved lives. But what happened when someone broke the rules? What happened when the fire went out? Every camp had a guardian, the one person who stayed awake while the others slept. The entire camp's survival, every sleeping man, woman, and child rested on that one person keeping their eyes open. Imagine the weight of that. Imagine being that person. And then imagine the exact moment your eyes close. At the edge of the camp, the hyenas had noticed. They'd been watching for this exact moment. For them, a dying fire wasn't a coincidence. It was an invitation. The darkness didn't just hide predators, it emboldened them. We know exactly what happened in these moments. The fossil record is specific. Bite marks on human bones, the position of remains scattered from where a camp once was. Ancient humans knew this risk. They lived with it every night. Which is why what happened next, evolutionarily, is one of the most extraordinary things about the human species. Here is what the dark was really doing. Not killing, selecting. The ancient humans who survived, generation after generation, weren't the strongest, they weren't the fastest. They were the ones who were most afraid, the ones whose brains screamed the loudest in the dark, the ones who woke up at the smallest sound, the paranoid, the anxious, the hypervigilant. Those people had children. Their children inherited it. Their children's children inherited it. And after 300,000 years of the most brutal selection process imaginable, here you are. That feeling you get in total darkness, heart rate climbing, breathing going shallow, eyes desperately searching for something to focus on. That isn't a flaw. It is a 600,000-year-old survival algorithm running perfectly in your nervous system. Your ancestors sat exactly where that figure sits, watching the fire, watching the dark, terrified every single night. And they made it. We live in a world where the predators are gone, the savannah is gone, the fire isn't the only thing keeping us alive. But the brain doesn't know that yet. It's still watching the edge of the firelight. It's still listening for the silence that means something is close. It's still doing exactly what it was built to do. 300,000 years of darkness encoded in a body that now lives in the light. Every generation before you made it through, not because the night got safer, because they never stopped being afraid of it. The dark didn't change. The fear didn't disappear. We just learned to carry it. Don't let the fire go out.